I'm Dawn. I grew up in a house that was filled with sexual abuse a lot of sexual abuse, I'm sorry. And then it turned into physical abuse. I didn't know or learn of who God really was until I was 30 years old. In between the time span of 4 years old until I was 30, my life was just out of control. I didn't know who God was or who God really was. The God I grew up knowing was mean and spiteful. He was very vindictive, and then I got introduced to who God really is, and it's changed my life. The lowest point of my life would have had to have been not knowing who I was. The only thing that I knew of my life was I wanted to do drugs to forget who I was. So the lowest point of my life is not knowing who I am. God used a man by the name of Tim, who was my counselor at a methadone clinic where I went to get clean off of heroin. And God used him because he had just completed training to become a leader at Celebrate Recovery. God has used his divine will for my life in a way that even I couldn't have even imagined. I was this person that was living on the street, using people for whatever I could, stealing from people, and now I'm feeding life into people. And that's something that if you had told me that 8 years ago, I would never have believed you. How does someone help a person who is in addiction or suffering from depression? In my opinion, helping someone who's suffering from anything would have to be feeding into their life, not enabling them, but letting them know that there's hope, and that hope is found in God. I have forgiven others in my life. It has only been through the power of God. I have dealt with things in my life that would seem unforgivable, but I've been able to make a phone call and say, I forgive you. And how do I forgive myself? By recognizing who I am in God. I serve and Celebrate Recovery because when I was at my lowest point, searching for something, I walked into a Celebrate Recovery and I found hope and love and acceptance. That's what I found was people who were in my life at that moment when I actually absolutely needed them, all through God. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Abundant life to me is living the best life I can, walking in God's will. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
So you get it. Excellent.